Okie dokie. So we have finished reviewing subjunctive triggers for wedding. So W, will, E, emotion, D, doubt, D, don't be fooled, I, indefinite phrases and negative phrases, and G, general statements. Now we're going to talk about those last two like empty boxes at the bottom of wedding, which are conjunctions, which are triggers. And you are all probably way too young, but hopefully you have seen Schoolhouse Rock, and they have a great song, which is Conjunction Junction, What's Your Function? If you haven't seen it, look it up. And it tells us that conjunctions are used to connect different parts of a sentence. So hopefully you remember these from last year, the escapa triggers, and these are called conjunctions of uncertainty because they mean that something is dependent on something else. So the E in the escapa is en caso de que, which is in case something happens. The S is sin que, unless something happens. The C is con tal de que, which is like as long as, basically, as long as something happens. The A, antes de que, before something happens. The P, para que, so that something happens. The a menos que, unless something happens. And we have another this year, which is new, which is a fin de que, which means in order for something to happen. So all of these are automatic subjunctive triggers. No matter what you're talking about, no matter if it's present, past, future, these are always going to trigger the subjunctive. So you just have to memorize these. And anytime you see them, you'll want to use subjunctive. You also need to memorize what they mean. So again, in case, unless, as long as, before, so that, unless, and also kind of so that or provided that. Okay, so to practice, enseño para que is a trigger. Para que ustedes, so the subjunctive for aprender would be aprendan. I teach so that you all will learn. Remember that these are only going to trigger the subjunctive when they have a K. So, for example, estudio para, I would just say aprender. Para is a preposition, and after preposition, you always use the full infinitive of a verb. So, estudio para aprender, I study in order to learn, would not be the subjunctive. Okay, so these are the conjunctions of uncertainty. We also have the conjunctions of time. So again, these are from last year. Hopefully you remember them. Cuando, when, en cuanto, as soon as, hasta que, until, tan pronto como, as soon as. This one's a new one for this year, después de que, which is after something happens. So these ones are a little bit trickier than the conjunctions of uncertainty. The conjunctions of time, remember, you only use the subjunctive when you have something that has not happened yet. So if you have something that has not happened yet and you have a conjunction of time, then you will use the subjunctive. This is tricky because they don't all have K. So you need to be able to recognize that you have a conjunction of time and something that hasn't happened yet. Even if you don't have K, it could still be the subjunctive. Here, cuando something en la escuela, hablo con mis amigos. Would this be subjunctive? Yes or no? When I'm at school, I talk with my friends. Is that something that has not happened yet? No. It's something that is a habitual action. It's a regular action. So it's just going to be the regular indicative, not subjunctive. When I am at school, I talk with my friends. Regular sentence. Cuando something en la escuela, hablaré con mis amigos. When I'm at school, I will talk to my friends. Is it something that hasn't happened yet? Yes, because this is the future tense. So we have the future tense or something that has not happened yet, and we have a conjunction of time. So we have to use a subjunctive. So the subjunctive for estar would be este. It's irregular with an accent. And it's not always going to be the future here. It could be like voy a something, or it could be a command. It just has to be something that has not happened yet. And then you have to use the subjunctive. Okay, so we have conjunctions of time and conjunctions of uncertainty. The last one is a new one for this year as well. It's the conjunction aunque, which can mean two different things depending on how you use it. So for example here, aunque es tarde, no estoy cansada, which means even though it's late, I'm not tired. However, the aunque can trigger the subjunctive. For example, aunque sea tarde, no estaré cansada. It doesn't mean even though here, it means even if. So even if it's late, I won't be tired. So if you are using aunque to say even though something is true, you're not going to use a subjunctive. If you're using it to mean even if something happens, then you are going to use the subjunctive. So hopefully you remember these things. If you have any questions, let me know. And remember, check out Schoolhouse Rock.